All right, we're going over to a customer's house that has a furnace in the crawl space under the stairs, and the notes on it say, if I could find the notes, they say the furnace flue pipe is also condensing. It seems to be pushing hot air and gases as it's running, but it appears the cold air is traveling back in while it's off, creating some sort of drop off of this pipe. This is in the crawl space to the right of the furnace. And I got this picture right here. And it kind of looks like that white pipe right here might be I don't know, almost kind of looks like it might be dropped off down on the ground, and then maybe that's what drop off means, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'll call this guy from the restoration company and ask him exactly what this means or what he experienced, and we'll go from there. But that's what we're gonna go take a look at. What is today? November 22nd, 2023. Pretty cool this morning. Got 19 degrees out. Should be a good morning for condensation for that furnace. It should be condensating pretty heavily on a 19-degree morning. So should be a good test. Okay, so supposedly it's in here. Supposedly it's in here. There it is, right up there. All right, let's get in there and get set up. Okay, so we're dealing with an 80% efficient furnace. And it is condensating and dripping right there. So we got to figure out what we do about that. Wonder if there's some kind of a fitting that'll go from there. I can put right here and then run a little hose off of it to that. I've never dealt with that before. I gotta see what I can do with that. It's a very interesting one. I gotta see what I can do with that. Very interesting one. All that water pouring out of there. I say we get all B-vent pipe, get rid of this single wall pipe, go with all B-vent, and maybe try to put some high temp silicone on the joints. But my concern is that it still might hold that condensation in there and rust out the B-vent pipe. I don't know if it will or not. It's not a lot of water in it, just a little bit accumulating right there. I can tell. Let's see what we can do. else going on with this thing too, because it just fired and it shut off and now it's firing again. I want to make sure I'm not getting some kind of a fault code. Might let it run for a minute, see if it goes into a fault, because it literally came on right before I walked into this crawl space, or crawled into this crawl space, and then shut off within just a couple minutes. It's definitely short cycling, so let's see if it's going into a fault code. We'll monitor it for a little bit. Yep, that furnace just shut off again. Probably ran for a minute and a half, maybe 2. We got a fault code. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. These carrier furnaces, the way their fault codes work is it's so many short flashes followed by so many long flashes. And a 3-3, I believe, is a limit. Right there, limit circuit fault. So most likely a dirty filter. We got more than just the water dripping issue going on here. Check our filter. Doesn't look terrible. I use light shed, and the light's shedding through it pretty good. It's a little dirty, but it's not crazy packed or anything. So probably got airflow issues, high static in my ductwork, or what can we do here? I have to take static pressure tests, period. That's usually my #1 cause for high limits. So I will go grab my manometer, we'll come back and we'll take some static pressure tests on the ductwork. So we'll drill a hole just before the filter. After the filter. And on the supply. See if I can get one before and one after this coil. It's kind of interesting. It looks like they put a coil on a coil. That's kind of weird. I have never seen that, so I'm going to drill my hole there. And we'll drill one more hole right here. Okay, start getting some static pressures. Let's see what we get. Shut off again. This thing is cycling that limit like crazy. I believe it's going to be undersized ductwork, but only one way to really find out, and that's take static pressures on the ductwork. Okay, so turn our manometer on, we'll zero it out. Oh, I can't hardly move around in here. All right, let's zero it out. Make sure you're in inches of water column. This will do PSI and M bar. If you get that wrong, well, it's not good. Okay, I'm getting 0.121 on my return before my filter. Okay, that filter's not the restriction. 2 to 8, that's only a 5. It's a 0.05, less than 0.1. Whoopsies. 0.1. Now it's 9.7. We'll just do 0.90. It's kind of bouncing around. 1.90. Let's see what we got before and after our coil. Could be a dirty coil. I've seen that before. Could be a dirty evaporator coil. Woo, I got really high static on my supply already. See, that's 0.572. Point 572. If I get really low static on the other side of the coil, then I know it's my coil. Let's see what we get here. Look at that. 0.054. So that tells me 0.054. This is one of the hardest things to get technicians to do, is take a static pressure test. But static pressure will tell you, especially if you do it in 4 locations like we just did, it will tell you if you have a restriction somewhere. High static equals restrictive airflow. So I have 0.054 right there past my coil, and I have 0.572 right there. That's literally almost, what is that, 0.54, 0.57, 0.054, so it's very low there. All of my restrictions happening in this coil, because I go from 0.572 to 0.054. So not even, I mean, that is 4.5 inches, pretty close, of a static drop across that coil. So all my pressure is getting backed up before, like, through this coil. As we come down here to the return side, we have 1.21 just before the filter, and we have 1.90 past the filter. So that's only like a 0.7 difference. Excuse me, 0.07 difference. So that's hardly any restriction at all. So I know my filter's good. And I like how they made the filter big and then transition down, instead of trying to cram a little filter here. That would have gave us high static, but since it's a big filter, it's pretty clean. We have hardly any drop there, but we have a huge drop on our coil. You know, from the inlet to the outlet. So my restriction's definitely in this coil. And as soon as I go to pull the door off of this thing, it's probably gonna blow in my face like crazy. Let's get the door off and take a look at it. Might want to have some safety glasses on at this point. There's dust flying out of this coil. Look at this. You see that dust coming out around there? That's kind of a dead sign that that coil is probably full of this stuff right here. Just kind of seeing some clues already. Drop my screw. Oh, look at all that dust flying out of there. That ain't good. That's not good at all. It's gonna be packed with that stuff. Stuff flying out. There's my coil. Got a lot of air right here blowing. Not too much there. So it's just all getting backed up right here. All right, let me get this thing opened up further, and we'll see if we can get some of this off and get a look inside there. So I'm going to pull this exhaust pipe all off to gain access to this panel a little more right here. Get all this pipe off, and we'll really look inside that coil and see what's going on. Okay, before I pull this piece of pipe off and take these delta plates off on this A coil to get in there to clean them, I want to measure my distance between here and there to see what we got at the shop that might fit in there. So that's 13 inches. I'm hoping a slip collar will do that, because that'd be perfect. So we're gonna do, see, I'm 12 1/4 raw from edge to edge. So 12 1/4. Just write that on this. 12 1/4 inches raw. Okay, perfect. Okay, now get to these delta plates here. This thing's going to be packed with debris. No doubt about it. White pipe is right in my way right here, but what do? You gotta roll with the punches. Oh, geez. There it is. Completely packed, man. There it is. Completely packed, man. Just packed with debris. Yeah, that's where my restriction is. That's going to be kind of fun to get off. I have to wire brush it and probably run some solution down through there. See if I can get it out of there. Yeah, it's just packed. That's my problem. Gosh. It's going to be fun to get off of there. It's caked in there really good. So, alright. I'm going to work on scraping all that, running some solution down it, do what I can, and then when I'm done we'll take static pressure readings again and see how we did. Getting to that top one's going to be fun also, up through here, but we got to make it happen. Alright, time to do a coil cleaning. Okay, now to these delta plates here. This thing's going to be packed with debris. No doubt about it. You got to move this bottom one to get to the bottom. I might not absolutely have to, but probably get in there with a 90-degree fitting. See if I can do it with a straight one. Maybe. White pipe is right in my way right here, but what do? You gotta roll with the punches. Oh, geez. There it is. Completely packed, man. Packed with debris. Yep, that's where my restriction is. It's going to be kind of fun to get off. I have to wire brush it and run some solution down through there. See if I can get it out of there. Yeah, it's just packed. That's my problem. Gosh. It's going to be fun to get off of there. It's caked in there really good. So, alright. I'm going to work on scraping all that, running some solution down it, do what I can, and then when I'm done, we'll take static pressure readings again and see how we did. Getting to that top one's going to be fun also, up through here. But we got to make it happen. Alright, time to do a coil cleaning. Okay, so I'm going to take my vacuum cleaner and try to vacuum as much of this stuff up as I can to try not to create a, try to create as less amount of sludge as I can, because as I start cleaning it with some Simple Green is what I'm using today. They got coil cleaners. I'm going to spray it down with some Simple Green and then just rinse it off with some water from my spray bottles here. I want to try to get the as much of that fine dusty stuff off as I can before I start squirting it with anything wet. So all right, let's see what we can get vacuumed out. That's about all I could get with the vacuum cleaner, so yeah, it's time to brush it and rinse it. Try to brush some of this stuff out of there. It's way up in there, and see if I can't vacuum that up, and then we'll hit it with the wet stuff. I can't see nothing, man. Hey, Alberto! Hey, Dan's got some stuff at the shop, and I was going to see if he could run it to me. A couple pieces of vent pipe, and I am up Warm Springs on, oh, what am I on? Canyon Run Boulevard. Yeah, he's got a couple pieces of pipe there. I'm just going to see if he can bring them to me. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'll send you the address. Alright, thanks sir, bye. Sweet, I got someone to deliver my parts so I don't have to drive all the way back to the shop. Just got to text him the address here. Okay. I can just barely get in on this top one, man. Hardly any room. Ugh. This thing keeps cutting my wrist a little bit. I can just barely get in on this one, man. It's Brutal. Okay. Spray the heck out of it with some simple green here, and I'm gonna let that soak for a little bit. See what we can do. They've got cleaning ladies up in the house right now cleaning the house. And when I turn this fan on and all this odor of this simple green goes up into the house, they're probably going to wonder what the heck. There's 3 of them up there, so they might be, did you use this? Did you use that? What's that smell? Mess with them a little bit, just for fun. It's a practical joke. Or they'll know that I'm doing something down here. Okay, we'll go ahead and hit this thing with some water. Rinse all that simple green off. Hopefully it's clean enough to drop that number way down. Take a look at this side. Take a look at this side. Okay. Alberto! Okay, just set it on the back of my truck. Thank you, sweetie. Alright, bye. My parts are here. That was quick. More pressure. Under pressure. Under pressure. Under pressure. This coil looks better. It's a little rough, but it looks a lot better than it was. Hopefully it's clean enough to drop that number way down. Take a look at this side. Take a look at this side. Put it back together and see what happens. Wait a minute. That can't be right. Because ain't lining up with the hose. Maybe this one. There we go. My phone would ring. It's upside down, inside out. That's probably Martin, Paul. Somebody's looking for some tech support. Just need one more, man. One more screw. There it is. I found it. Yay! Done. So now we'll fire it back up and we'll check our static pressures. Recheck our static pressures across this coil, see what we get. This sounds pretty restricted, but let's see what we get. I swear that was said 1 point something, which makes no sense for that to be higher. Oh, there it is. See, I'm in M bar. You gotta watch that. Put it in M bar, it's going to read a totally different pressure. We need to be in inches water column. Okay. Just wait for that blower to come on. That didn't hardly help at all. Still got 0.571. I just wonder if it's just so caked up inside there that it just almost needs the coil cut loose, removed, and then really thoroughly cleaned and put back in. And I fully expect that high limit to still trip. I went from 0.572 to 0.566. That's not much of a drop at all. That's very unfortunate. I just wonder if it's just so caked up inside there that it just almost needs the coil cut loose, removed, and then really thoroughly cleaned and put back in. And I fully expect that high limit to still trip. I went from 0.572 to 0.566. That's not much of a drop at all. That's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Still got 0.54 there. It should have went up a little bit. There it goes. 0.62. So I gained a couple there and lost a couple back there. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to keep the high limit from tripping, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, I really wish we could have dropped a lot more than 0.02 I wish we could have dropped at least 0.2 or 0.30 inches, but I'm not very hopeful that that's not going to trip the high limit still. We didn't make much of a gain. Like I said, that stuff might be all gummed up down inside that the coil. We have to actually pull the coil out and just clean it and or replace it, but it's just a real bugger to get in here to clean this coil with the limited access you have to it. All right, well, that's very unfortunate. I'll have to get the exhaust pipe hooked back up before I can run it long enough to see what the high limit's really going to do. But again, I'm not very hopeful. I didn't make a big enough difference what I wanted to see. So, all right, let's get this pipe hooked up. Okay. All right, got this piece of B-vent slip pipe. It's called a slip collar. It's got a piece of 6-inch B-vent inside of it. And I'm just going to try to make this fit in between here and here so it's a solid connection, and then silicone all around it to see if we can stop that water that was dripping earlier. And that's what we'd be working on. It'll fit between that and that, which is going to be almost impossible. Oh, come on, go more. There we go. Almost impossible. Oh, it's going to be tight. Tight fit. Once they get it in there, I don't have any room to really... This is going to be a brutal. Gonna be a brutal. See what we can do here. Wish me luck, man, because I'm going to need it. Shoot, this one is so stinking tight. Get that wire out of the way. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see here. I'm gonna line this up with those, which are not sure where they are. Oh, this is gonna be super brutal. Actually, I want to keep that behind it. Man, just don't know. Just don't know, y'all. Hoping this fits this other pipe too. That's another challenge. Come on, baby. You can do it. Shoot, I'm pushing that further into that pipe, which is making it even harder to get out when it's time. Oh, whoo! We need to go back. There we go. Now, trying to get this back out. Just don't know. Just realized that slipped all the way tight, which is, don't need that. Not slipped all the way tight, but pinched tight. That might make a big difference. Find out. I don't know if it will or not. Gosh, this is going to be brutal. I think it's not going to fit in my cabinet or what? It's going to make me cut my cabinet some more to get it in there. It might. Man, they give you no playroom there. I have to cut my cabinet to get that in there. Brutal. So I gotta get some snips and cut this out, which is gonna be just, I don't even know, in this tight. I'm actually thinking about just putting this back in there, sealing around it really good, because I just don't know. That almost won't work because I need my slip piece now, so that won't work either. I have to get this to slide into this, and I have to cut that to do it. Back to the truck. right, see if we can get this hole cut bigger. For those of you that don't know about 90-degree snips, those are 90s. There's no way I could buy this piece of oil thread without those. Where's my other ones? These are regular right-handed offsets, and these are 90-degree right-handed offsets. And these, if you don't have a pair and you do much, have to get into this kind of stuff, highly recommend a pair of 90-degree. These are Northwest, I think these are called Northwests. I like these for the offsets. They might be, don't quote me on that. I bought these, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 20, at least 15, and I can't remember what brand they are. But they're really good in tight spaces. Nothing through there. I got green ones also. Don't get one, get the other. When you need them both usually. Okay. Now, open up the rest of this. Brutal, not playing nice. Oh, it's killing me. Got literally wires everywhere. Everywhere. In the way. I got Romex, overflow safety, and control thermostat or something. Control wire in my way. Line set wire. Yay. Yay, thank you. Yay. If y'all know a better way, leave a comment. I might have been able to take this whole plate off and do this down on the ground, but a little late for that now. I'm gonna break that last little bit off. All right, hole should be big enough now. Okay. Still gonna have to be able to slip this piece out of that other piece though, which is going to be a challenge. Okay, I'm thinking needle nose. At this point I'm going to have to take this elbow off, then get my needle nose in there and pull this piece of pipe back far enough, and then slip this back into it and then reconnect it to there. It's going to be my only hope. My only hope. Just get this out of my way so I can get in here with some pliers. Actually, before I do that, I better get a couple screws into this thing. So it can't pull out on me. There's one. Still leaking out of there. Hoping my silicone can set up. Get 3 screws in this. I know it won't move. Screwed on there. I can pull on this and it shouldn't pull that pipe. It will not pull that pipe out now. Will not. Needle nose and these. Maybe try to pull from both sides at the same time. Let's see what we get here. There it goes. Once it goes, it's pretty good. I should be able to, yeah, see, now I can slip that in and out a little. All right. Now, so now, slip this all together if we can. Oh, that's gonna be a little tricky. See how I'm gonna push it back a little bit, just enough to get it all lined up there. It's gonna be a little challenging, no doubt. Let's get all that into there, all that into there, while getting this. She's tight. She's tight, boys. Let me cut a little bit of this outer shield because this thing is hitting it right here. See if that helps. See if that helps. So tight. Woo, I got myself into here. It is so tight. Surely that's gonna fit, right? Okay, I think at this point I might want to screw this back on. Screw my vent elbow back on. Okay, one more. Okay. See what we can do here. Work with me, baby. Thinking pliers are going to be my best friend again. Apple Zappa, you my only friend. Anybody remember that one? Come on, baby, you can do it. Oh, she's going. She's going. Have hope. Yes, going, baby. Oh, you can do it, guy. A little more. Of course, my dang camera fell down again over there. Can't keep this damn thing up there. All right, I'm done with you. That's too many times of falling. Well, still tripped my high limit after about 2 minutes of running, which I figured it was going to because I didn't drop the static pressure that much on the inlet side of the evaporator coil. So, but there's definitely a restriction there. So the only thing left to do is to get that coil out of there and do a good cleaning on it, or replace the coil with a new one. But at least start by getting it out of there and seeing if we can do a good good cleaning on it while it's out. We can get to all sides of it and really flush it well and get all that junk out of there. But it's going to be awful because we got to cut that radon pipe out of the way. We got to take that venting all back out that I just siliconed. We're going to have to something else, you know, cut all the condensation loose and stuff. No big deal. Recover all the refrigerant and get it out of there and clean it. I might even just advise to take it out, maybe put it back next spring. But we'll see what we're gonna do. But it's kind of sad because I just spent 3 hours trying to clean all that and fix that, and I didn't. So that bothers me. Can't win them all. It's just gonna have to come out. I had to try, but it didn't work. So yeah, I'd be curious to see what comes out of that coil when we get it out and actually spray it out and clean it, if that's the route we choose to go. But that's what I'll tell the homeowner. So all that work for literally nothing, unfortunately. I can usually get those coils clean enough and drop that static, but as soon as I saw that static only drop 0.02 inches, I knew it wasn't good enough. So, all right, that's that. Thanks for watching.